Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. I am Carol Bryant, the PR and Marketing Manager with BlogPaws. I'm here today with a very special Google Hangout, as we're calling BlogPaws Shares. Three of our very well-versed speakers from the upcoming BlogPaws conference are joining me. And just as a side note, the BlogPaws conference, as of this date, is a little bit over 80 days away. So you'll be able to meet these three rock stars in person in Nashville. And what I wanted to do was go around and have each of them introduce themselves and let you know what session they will be talking about at the BlogPaws conference. So let's start with you, Bill.
Hello, my name is Bill Schroeder. I own In Touch Practice Communications, and for the last 20 years, I've worked within the veterinary space. My firm is the largest marketing and advertising agency within veterinary medicine, having completed 10,000 projects in the space. We're a full-service ad and marketing agency, and I'm really happy to return to BlogPaws. While there, I'll be talking about introductory search engine optimization. So if you're writing a blog or managing a website and you are interested in learning how to get your message found from a basic standpoint, please come and see me speak. I'll be glad to help you get a better understanding. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And SEO is such a very important topic. It's ever evolving. I feel like we fall asleep, get up in the morning, and SEO has changed again. So definitely looking forward to your session. And speaking of SEO, let's now go to Jill.
Hi, I'm Jill Karen. I'm the owner of Two Dogs Design, a web and digital marketing agency located in New Jersey. We have been developing and marketing websites for over 10 years, and our specialty is advanced SEO. So we're going to follow up with Bill. So after you attend Bill's session, you can come on over to my session, and what we'll do is help you with the more intricate details in regards to getting your message out there and getting it found with more technical aspects, things like schema and markups and all the fun stuff that's from a back-end standpoint, but we'll make it simple for you to help you achieve those goals.
We love that. I know that some of those words you just said right now, I scratch my head and think, really? What? So I know I'm not the only one that could definitely benefit from that session. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
And let's round out the panel but with introducing Susan.
Hello, hello. So my name is Susan Wenner Jackson, and I come from, well, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. We just had a big snow here, so I'm actually working from home today. I am the VP of Content Partnerships for a company called Ahology, and our focus is Pinterest and using Pinterest for content marketing. So we kind of we target two different groups of people: bloggers and brands, big brands. And so my job is to work with bloggers, help you use Pinterest and our tools. Ahology has some tools for Pinterest to get your content on Pinterest, get it seen, and drive lots and lots of traffic to your website. So that's a lot about what I'll be talking about at the conference, and I'll share some of my tips today. And just my pet background, we just lost our dog of 12 years. His name was Merc, and so we're still kind of in the grieving period. We just had to put him to sleep last month. But we already are looking at some puppies. I have two young children and my husband, and they are like dying to, bring another dog into our life. So probably by the conference, I will be having another dog or more in our life.
Well, our deepest condolences, Susan. I know we all can relate. We've all been down that road, and it just, we all say never again, and my never again is sitting by my feet right now. Um, and that was
Yeah.
almost his name was Never, and I didn't want to curse him with that. So
Yeah, that's
let's,
great.
yeah, right? Okay, so let's, while we have you on screen, Susan, let's start with
Uh-huh.
you. I know
Sure.
Pinterest is such a hot topic. I don't know anyone who's not madly, deeply, truly in love with Pinterest. Using it for pet bloggers, we've really jumped on board with that. So could you tell us a little bit about some of the misconceptions of Pinterest, how you might be dispelling them at your session, just some of the things that are out there that maybe aren't true, or how people could really get on board with this?
Sure, sure. One of the things that I think a lot of people assume about Pinterest is if you've used it as a consumer, as a regular person, as opposed to a blogger, you might think of it as a social network, that you consider that, oh, it's social media. And actually, Pinterest is we don't think of it at Ahology as a social network. We think of it, it's a visual search engine or a visual discovery engine. And in the last year or so, Pinterest has been really pushing hard toward becoming a search platform, as opposed to, oh, I'm going to follow these people, my friends or people that I admire, and see what they pin, and then I will, and click on it. It's becoming much, much more about search. And in particular, one of the things I think people may not understand the difference between, say, Google and Pinterest. So, okay, when you hear search, you think, oh, well, that I go on Google and I search for, to find a new vet or whatever it is. People go to Pinterest to search for things they want to do, things they want to make, things they want to try. So it's much more about inspiration and lifestyle as opposed to really the brass tacks, like I need to find a thing to buy or whatever. So all of these things are helpful to kind of get you in the right mindset if you're a blogger and you're trying to use Pinterest as a way to get that content found when people are in that mindset. So there's a lot of things that you can do depending on the type of pet content you're creating that will help your content be discovered, be repinned, become viral on Pinterest, and drive some of that massive amount of traffic that's coming out of Pinterest towards your blog.
Very good. That's actually a nice segue for Bill, because I'm sure that SEO plays a part in what folks are finding on Pinterest and how they're hashtagging. And is there a connection there? And talk to me a little bit about basic SEO and why that's important to the pet blogger, Bill.
Well, back in the day, search engine optimization was all about on-site and gaming the algorithms, and attempting to figure out the how Google and the others are reacting and will relate. But as of late, as of maybe the last couple of years, we've seen a huge influx in the influence that social has upon the rankings within the SERPs, and search engine results pages is what that is. And what's going on is that the search engines are looking for a more authentic way to value content that's on blogs and websites. And one way that they can do that is through validating social shares and through Pinterest, pinning and hashtags and all this sort of thing, so that it's less likely to be gamed.
Okay, very good. So based on that, at your session at BlogPaws, if you have been blogging for a while, would there be a benefit to attending your session that you could help us more with SEO from a basic standpoint, or talk a little bit about that?
Okay, well, there's a difference between, and sometimes there's a difference between blogging or having a website and having a website that can actually be found. And a lot of people think that, okay, I can go out there and I'll just create this blog and everybody is reading it. But when you go back and you look at the analytics behind the traffic, people will say, geez Louise, I'm putting all this work into the site, and it's not reaching me. Conducting a session at BlogPaws, having no one show up for the meeting, but still conducting and going through my slide deck. It's almost a waste of time. So to answer your question, there are differences. If you've been blogging for a long time and you haven't been paying attention to actively getting your message out there, well then certainly there'd be benefit. But if you've got the SEO thing down pat, as far as you understand the importance of keywords, you understand the importance of speaking to the audience rather than to working to impress the search engines, you understand doing keyword research, I would say move on and take a look at the next level course, because they've asked me to come in and teach a very basic course.
Great.
So that we can get an introduction.
That's awesome, because over 60% of our attendees are first-timers to BlogPaws. We have a very new contingency coming, so that's going to be really exciting for you, Bill, and I know a lot of folks did ask me in advance to talk to you about that and SEO. So let me turn it over to Jill then. So I've been blogging for a while. I know SEO, and you used big words like schema and markup with me. And so talk a little bit about that, what your session is going to entail, and what does that mean, advanced SEO?
Advanced SEO, if, like Bill said, if you already have a good comprehension of how to utilize the basic keywords and a basic structure of the blog, whether you're on Blogger or WordPress, if you're already implementing your keywords and your title tags and your meta descriptions, if you have all that, that's great. I take it the step further. There's so much new data out there now. There was actually just something that broke last week as well, which I already have to research and look into. But in regards to schema and markup, those are just two additional components of code that you have to place into your website. But if you're doing, a recipe site for animals, how to make homemade goodies, you want to make sure you have the proper markup in the code to ensure that if somebody's typing in cookie recipes for my dogs, that yours show up as recipes.
Right.
So it's all these little back-end niches that you can change to help improve how you're being found. Google's getting very good at knowing what is on your website, and what I'm going to help you understand is how to create your content so that Google knows exactly what you're talking about by not keyword stuffing and using similar keywords that are relevant to that main keyword. We're going to talk about how to find really creative ways to engage your visitors and find content that will bring more traffic. So it's just a really deep look at how to improve your on-site.
Awesome, awesome. And well, so speaking of content, and that's a good shift, Susan, I know recently I read in iBlog Magazine an article of yours that it laid out Pinterest for a year and some of the topics that you could go month by month, and I had never considered that, and I'm doing an editorial calendar. I know a lot of bloggers are listening right now, they have editorial calendars. And Tom's saying even Pinterest as a search tool instead of a social network, that's such a mind shift. And I really think that's something that, for even those of us who have a crush on Pinterest and use it a lot, that to me was really, you just stunned me with that one. So are there some tips you could give right now, maybe 2 or 3 actionable tips about Pinterest, how folks should be working that in as a search tool?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for mentioning iBlog Magazine. I actually am a regular contributor to that magazine. I do a column every month about something to do with Pinterest and blogging, because that's my sweet spot.
Right.
I highly recommend that as a resource, by the way. It's just a great magazine. It's jammed with great tips. And that issue had that calendar on it. But basically, the idea behind it is this. Pinterest is 2 different types of content. It's evergreen, meaning just any time of year it's good content. And it's anything from, recipes or how-to, organization, etc. But then it's also very seasonal. So part of the whole idea of being inspirational is depending on the time of year, whether it's holidays, the weather, events, a lot of that is a big thing on Pinterest. And by planning ahead, what you're doing is you're getting ahead of the game. You're planting the seeds. So for example, it's funny that Christmas starts trending on Pinterest in late July. So you know how people talk about Christmas in July,
Right.
As a thing. You actually will start seeing content on Pinterest for Christmas in late July. And a lot of people are always like, oh my gosh, I can't believe there's already Christmas stuff. I can't think about Christmas. But I'm telling you, as a smart content creator and publisher, you kind of have to be one of those annoying people that pin stuff about Christmas in July, or at least start thinking about it, because by the time it really peaks, people are really searching for Christmas stuff. It's like October, November, and if you've had those pins out there for a while, they're going to be growing in popularity, and that feeds into the whole search thing. The more that the content has been pinned by a number of different people and it's kind of had a chance to grow momentum, the more popular it's going to be by the time many people are searching for it. So that's kind of part of the idea, is just planning ahead and thinking about what content do I want to promote at different times. And also, it's wonderful for people who have been blogging for a while. And when I say a while, I mean a year, 5 years, anything longer than a couple of months when you don't have a lot of content under your belt, because that content can be relevant for a long time on Pinterest, and it can bring you lots of traffic. But I didn't mention also I have a blog. So that's kind of how I started at Ahology. I have a blog for working moms. It's called Working Moms Against Guilt. And we have been blogging for 8 years. I have so much archives of content. And some of the most traffic I get is to some old recipe that we posted back in 2007, and it was like easy chicken parmesan for weeknights, when you're just throwing dinner together. That is one of our biggest traffic driving posts. And on Pinterest, it's still gangbusters. Pinterest doesn't care that I posted it, 7 years ago. So that's one of the things that you can take advantage of is like as you're planning for pinning, that Christmas content, you can pin Christmas content that you published 3 years ago. No one cares.
Right. So, okay, Jill, I do have a crush on schema markup. I just don't want to admit it. Let's talk a little bit about backlinks. That putting them on your blog, isn't that helpful for me as a blogger? And can I actually do that wrong where it would hurt my blog?
Yeah, this is a big issue I'm seeing with a lot of my clients right now. I've had a lot of new clients come on board with SEO, and they're not all bloggers. It's all different websites. But one of the first things I do is a backlink check. Pinterest is a great place to get backlinks from. You want as many backlinks from Pinterest as you can get. But if at some point in time you have done a backlink strategy where you just went out and spammed comments and spammed your links into directories and all that, and those are still out there, you want to try and get them removed. I've had clients drop completely out of the search engines, and it took me about 6 to 9 months to get them back in because of things that they did 2 or 3 years ago. So that is something I'm going to also talk about at BlogPaws because it is critical to the success of your blog, as well as an internal linking strategy, which nobody really talks about. An internal and external linking strategy is also critical, and I think this is something that's not addressed enough with bloggers. So I want to make sure that people understand that it will be a big part of the session as well, showing you how to link properly, how to get creative backlinks. And to talk about something that Sue said, I actually have 2 pet projects. One is called Good Pit, which is all about pit bulls. I have one post on that blog that has garnered over 1 million views over the last year, and it keeps on going. And it was a post I did probably 18 months ago.
Wow.
Never thought twice about it. I actually had to take the site down because it crashed my server. So right now the site's down. But finding the right thing to talk about can make your blog. And as little as your blog may be, it only takes one great article to make it explode.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I'm forever driving home is that a blog needs a business plan, and it doesn't need to be a master's thesis. It doesn't need to be a binder full. But for me, having a blog business plan and incorporating things like you're saying into the structure of your blog is just so helpful. And I think across the board, all of you in attendance would probably agree with me on that. Bill, Yvonne is saying to me, okay, I blog, I'm doing my homework, I make sure that I have the right links in there and the content's there. Can I just let SEO take care of itself? What's the harm in that?
Oh, what? Are you reading my sheet? Are you? That's amazing because I've got my highlighter out and I'm somewhere here you got a camera. But okay, so here's the thing. First off, I want to applaud my fellow panelists in speaking about planning and a posting calendar. All too often, without a calendar, we have this sense of urgency to go and say, "Oh my gosh, I haven't made a post in so long. Let's go down and let's make a post." And whether it be on Facebook or Twitter or even a blog, and you get these really ridiculous posts that have no meaning. In fact, I've got a lecture that I do about it called "Today I Had the Best Caramel Mocha Latte," because it comes from a post that a client of mine made that had zero relevance out there, but they felt that they needed to fill the space. So I applaud everyone that is speaking about a posting calendar, and I think if you adopt this as part of your strategy, that you will find your posts are much more easy to manage. Your blogs are much more robust, and you will have a high degree of engagement based upon, how effective or how valuable the content is. So yay, ladies. Next, You asked about setting it up and going. The biggest misconception that I run across is that people think you can go out and buy like a pound of SEO, and they go, I'll just have one of those, and could you just send it to me and hook it up, and then thank you very much. Well, I speak of these things that you can't control, and the bottom line is that you need to understand that SEO involves an initial effort and then an ongoing effort that compensates for changes in your needs, changes in the competing blogs that are out there, because let's face it, you're all vying for the attention of the pet market, right? And then there's this third thing that is super out of control, and that is the algorithms that we're working within. So if somebody has the key to those three things and can fix the crystal ball that I've got sitting over here, then you can buy 1 pound and, set it and forget it. But outside of that, I'm going to say that you need to swallow the pill that is SEO requires an initial effort, followed by ongoing maintenance, sustain and gain ground.
Could I chime in there really quickly?
Sure.
I just also want to add that I think bloggers tend to feel like they have to constantly be creating new content and publishing all the time. But actually, that can burn you out. And by using a calendar, by planning, by distributing in different kinds of social networks and through search, you actually can drive a lot of consistent traffic to your blog without killing yourself trying to just constantly create new content. So just want to throw that in there.
Really good point. And I'm actually doing a session at BlogPaws on Instagram, and I have a planning calendar for Instagram too. So thanks to Susan. A lot of these are interchangeable so that bloggers aren't feeling overwhelmed, and we have full-time jobs, and we might be doing this at night or on weekends. You don't need to have, and Robbie Hess will be talking about conquering the overwhelm. As long as you have a calendar and you're following it and you're planning ahead, and I think that's a good way to conquer some of that pressure that we all tend to feel. So what I wanted to do...
Can I jump in?
Yes. Yeah,
for
go ahead.
Just 1 second.
Go ahead, Bill.
I'd just like to introduce a small concept here.
Yes.
In that your plan doesn't need to be a secret.
Right.
You don't have to have the great reveal off of your plan. In fact, if you're comfortable with setting up your plan as it goes throughout the year, why not set an expectation with your readers that says, okay, this month we're going to be talking about this. Look in advance. 3 months from now we'll be talking about this, and it allows you to start teasing things within your original content and developing and fulfilling that expectation within your audience, that once you deliver upon it, you've increased your credibility and you've overall increased the loyalty that your followers will share with your blog. So.
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's perfect. That's a perfect point. We train our pets and we can train our readers too. So that's a really good point. Susan, also, I did want to let everybody know that iBlog Magazine is a media sponsor of the BlogPaws conference. So thank you for that introduction. We haven't had a chance to connect recently,
I'm so glad to hear that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really. So I wanted to bring a question around to you, and then I'm going to circle back with everybody because we're under 10 minutes left. Some folks say Pinterest drives traffic to their blog. What if you have no idea what that means? How does that happen?
Sure. Well, whether you are actually pinning your own articles or not, I guarantee you that someone out there has come to your blog and thought, oh, I like this, pet treat recipe. I'm going to pin this. I'm going to pin this to my dog board. And so they click the pin it button, and they have added a link to your site with a picture pulled from that page to Pinterest. So I actually encourage you to go on Pinterest and just search for your website to see what comes up. But basically what it means is, as a blogger, you're bringing your content into the Pinterest platform to allow it to then be consumed and shared by other people on Pinterest. Bloggers are actually the biggest contributor of content to Pinterest. 90% of what you're seeing on there is coming from blogs. It's not coming from, big newspapers or magazines or other kind of traditional media. It's coming from blogs. And so by taking the reins and actually proactively finding the right image and putting it onto Pinterest and linking to your various articles, you're taking charge and really driving that traffic. You're pulling traffic to your site from this popular place that people are looking for content.
That's phenomenal. So is Pinterest very grassrootsy then, in that it's less corporate, and do you see more bigger, like some of the bigger brands coming on board, or is it really primarily quote unquote controlled by the blogger?
It's very grassroots in the sense that whatever content people are interested in is what is going to be shared on there. Definitely big brands want to be on there, and that's actually part of what Ahology's business model is we're trying to help the big brands do it right and find consumers in a place where they're already looking for ideas, content to buy things, etc. But it's absolutely the best content wins on Pinterest.
Right.
And what's really great for pet bloggers is there is a category on Pinterest just for you, animals and pets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would argue that that category right now is dominated by cute pics of animals, which are great, but there's not a lot of pet content to be found. And so there's a huge opportunity for you to bring all that on there and tap into what I think is kind of an underserved market right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. In these final few minutes that we have, what I want to do is swing back to Jill and then Bill, and give me a little tip right now that pre-conference, if someone wants to take the information you've talked about here today, make a difference, do something on their blog, what's something actionable folks can do between now and the time they see you at the BlogPaws conference? And let's start with you, Jill.
I think the first thing that they should do is check their backlinks. Check the backlinks going into their blog. They could do this if they don't have Webmaster Tools set up. Google offers a free service. It's called Webmaster Tools. You sign up for that. You let them know that your blog is there, and it'll give you a list of the links that they have found going to your blog. So I would review those, see which ones look spammy, try to get them removed, and that would be the first start, because that's going to be the one thing that can save you from demise going forward.
Okay.
That's by far, to me, one of the most critical things, especially for bloggers who have been around for a while and who may not have a clue what's going on with their backlinks.
So make sure those backlinks are also working.
Make sure they're working, make sure they're coming, if you've got a lot of backlinks from Indian websites or Russian websites, you don't want those. They're going to hurt you.
Right. So I see Bill's in agreement with that. And Bill, how about you? Do you have a tip that
I'm sure Bill's seen just as much as I have.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, the link farm operations that we've, sometimes we'll come into a project and a client has been with someone before us, from a search standpoint. We go, oh yeah, so let's take a look at your backlinks, and you're like, how did these happen? And they always say, well, the old SEO guy said he'd set all that stuff up.
Yeah. And it takes a long time to clean those up. It took me, I had a client, they're actually a healthcare company, so it was a big client for me, and they plummeted. They were nowhere to be found in the search results. And this is a company that's been around for 30 years. They were very successful. They plummeted because they hired another company who did cheap work. If you're looking for somebody to do backlinks and they're offering you that for $99 a month, run really, really far. Backlinks, there is no such thing as backlinks anymore. Do not hire somebody to do backlinks for you. It's just not going to work. I know bloggers don't typically hire people for backlinks, but they're learning incorrect methods, and that's something, it's a real concern, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better, and it takes a long time to recoup if you get hit with a bad backlink from one of the algorithms, and that's where the animals of Google comes into play. We'll talk about Panda and Penguin, and if you've been affected and how you can see if you've been affected and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, those animals are absolutely adorable, but I don't know, from a Google standpoint, one has to wonder.
They're not your friend.
No, every time something new rolls out, I think, oh boy, they're going to sugarcoat it with the name of an animal, and So how about we go around?
I'm waiting for them. I'm
Bill?
waiting for them to come up with koala bear. I think koala bear would be the best.
That might be good. Okay, so
I always say this 'cause it looks so warm and cuddly.
you all are having way too much fun. We have so many good comments coming in. People are so excited to be coming to the sessions. There's Lauren Darr from the International Pet Fashion Professionals is saying that if this is the appetizer, she can't wait for the full meal deal at BlogPaws. So I think you all are going to have a standing room only based on these comments coming in. So we have under a minute left, so what I'd like to do is just close out with each of you letting folks know where to find you between now and the conference. Where online are you found? Susan?
Well, you can find me, I'm on Twitter at Susan W. Jackson, and my company, Ahology, is ahology.com, and I would actually go to ahology.com/publishers
Okay.
for more specific information.
Okay, and Jill?
I actually, my two primary businesses are, one is more of a charity, but twodogsdesign.com is my website. You can find me on Twitter at twodogsdesign. It's the number 2. And then I also run a fundraising website called Charity Paws. That's my passion. So we actually create custom apparel just for shelters, and they get a portion of all the proceeds. So you can find me at charitypaws.com or on Twitter at charitypaws.com, and then we're also on Facebook with Charity
Very
Paws.
good. Very good. I need to talk to you then. That's very good. And Bill, if you could please let folks know.
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at SocialVet. You can look up my website. It's InTouchVet. That's INTOUCHVET.com. And I always joke and say if you see 5 veterinarians standing around in a circle, don't look too far because I'm going to be close. And that's what I do. So if you want to find me traditionally, just look for that. I'm there. So
Very good.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. This is really
awesome. It always goes way too fast, so this is
It
just a
went very
teaser and why folks have to really come to Nashville and meet you face to face and why the networking is so important. So thank you all for joining us. You can find me at BlogPaws or fidoseofreality.com, my dog blog. And thanks Tom and Robbie and Yvonne and everybody behind the scenes for helping us get this started. And see you all in Nashville.
Yeah, see you there. I'll be on Lower Broadway in Nashville, by the way. You can find me there.
Okay.